You were never designed to live in anxiety or lack. Your source has already made provision for your purpose. The moment you stepped into your assignment, the resources began moving toward you. It's time to walk in alignment and confidence because your life is already funded. You are not an accident. You are not a random creation. You are heaven's investment, strategically placed on earth with a purpose that was decided before your birth. When something is valuable, it is backed. When something is sent on assignment, it is supported. And you were sent, not just born, not just placed, sent. Now listen, when a manufacturer creates a product, they don't release it without first ensuring it has everything it needs to succeed. Whether it's a phone, a car, a system, it comes with built-in support, instruction, and warranty. Why? Because it represents the manufacturer. So if man does that, what makes you think your source would send you to earth with vision, assignment, destiny, and no backing? You're not chasing provision. You're not begging for favor. You are the proof of a higher plan, and every plan that is real is resourced. Here's the problem. Many people live like orphans in the marketplace of destiny. They walk around as if they've been abandoned by their source. But you're not an orphan. You're a child of purpose. You are backed, you are approved, and everything you need is not coming. It's already been scheduled. The funds, the connections, the opportunities, they're attracted to the assignment in you, not the anxiety around you. So the question is, will you start acting like the investment you are? Because when you do, something amazing happens. Provision starts moving, and that's what we're diving into next. Why provision always follows purpose. Purpose is the magnet that pulls provision. The moment you discover why you were sent, everything you need to fulfill that calling begins to respond. Provision doesn't move because you cry. It moves because you align. And alignment is the birthplace of overflow. The challenge? Most people are chasing money instead of chasing meaning. They're running after paper instead of vision. But listen carefully. Money is attracted to movement, and movement comes from mission. When you step into purpose, you don't have to beg for resources. You simply walk and they follow. Your source is too intentional to give you a vision without the means to fulfill it. If you've truly received a divine assignment, trust this, the funding is already in motion, but it's not released to your emotions, it's released to your obedience. So ask yourself, are you aligned with your assignment, or are you negotiating your calling because of fear? Every tree grows where it's planted, not where it wants to be. If you're planted in your purpose, the rain knows where to find you. The soil already contains the nutrients. The environment has already been set. You don't force it, you flow in it. You're not chasing provision, you're catching up to what's already been prepared. But here's the twist. What if I told you you're not just funded, but you're also anointed for this? That's the next key. Why being assigned, anointed, and already funded changes everything. You are not just given an assignment, you are also given the authority to carry it out. And that's what separates wishful thinking from divine execution. You are assigned, anointed, and already funded. That means you're not stepping into this thing on your own terms. You're stepping in with power, with permission, and with provision. Now listen, when someone is assigned a mission, it's not enough to simply know the what, you need the how. And that's where the anointing comes in. It's the invisible endorsement. It's what causes doors to open that were supposed to stay shut. It's what makes your name echo in rooms you've never entered. That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. And when the anointing is present, the pressure lifts. You stop performing, you start producing. You stop forcing, you start flowing. Because you're not operating in your strength, you're operating in your grace zone. This is why people look at you and say, how are they doing that? What they don't realize is you're not functioning of charisma. You're functioning of calling. And calling comes pre-packaged with both power and provision. You don't have to force your way in. When you are assigned and anointed, you are authorized. And when you're authorized, the supply chain of heaven opens up. But here's what you need to know next. Worry is the enemy of that flow. And that's exactly why we need to deal with this truth. Worry is not a strategy. Worry is not a strategy. It never has been, it never will be. You can't plan your future while you're panicking about your present. Worry doesn't build, it breaks. It doesn't lead you forward. It locks you up in fear, doubt, and hesitation. And here's the truth. Worry is a misuse of imagination. You were given the ability to visualize your destiny, not dramatize your downfall. Worry pulls you out of alignment. It disconnects you from your assignment. Because you can't carry faith and fear in the same hand. One of them has to drop. Why are you stressing over what's already been handled? Why are you losing sleep over provision that's been pre-approved? You don't have time to worry. Not when you've got a purpose to fulfill, lives to impact, and territory to take. Worry is expensive. It costs you energy, creativity, clarity. But strategy? Strategy brings alignment. Strategy is born in peace, and peace is the posture of someone who knows they're backed. You were never designed to operate from fear. You were designed to operate from focus. And when you focus on your source, on your vision, on your assignment, worry becomes irrelevant. So the next time anxiety knocks, don't answer it with emotion. Answer it with alignment. You are funded, favored, and focused. And speaking of strategy, wait until you see what happens when the vision comes with the resources. Every real vision comes with its own supply. When the vision is authentic, when it's birthed from purpose, not pride, the resources are already assigned. You don't have to invent the supply chain. You just have to align with it. Now hear this. Vision is not a fantasy. It's not wishful thinking. Vision is a blueprint from your source. And blueprints come with budgets. That means if you've truly caught a vision, you've also caught the attention of provision. The materials, the money, the minds, it's all in motion. Think about it. When an architect draws the plan, the builders don't bring random tools. They bring what's required. So if your life has a blueprint, then the right tools, the right people, the right timing, they're not random either. They're recruited by your vision. But this is where many people get stuck. They start adjusting the vision to match the budget. They downsize the dream because they haven't seen the dollars. That's a mistake. Never reduce the vision. Increase your alignment. Because the resources will meet you at the level of obedience. You weren't told to figure out how. It's not your job to fund the vision. It's your job to walk it out. And as you move forward, watch the right doors open, the right help appear, and the right timing unfold. But don't be confused. The funding isn't your source. So next, we got to deal with this truth. Your job is not your source. Your job is not your source. Let that settle. Your salary, that's not your supply. Your position, that's not your provision. Those are just channels, temporary pipelines for a permanent promise. Your true source is bigger than any paycheck, wider than any promotion, deeper than any title. See, when you confuse your job with your source, you live in fear. Fear of losing, fear of layoffs, fear of what happens if things fall apart. But when you know your job is just a tool, not the source, you walk with confidence, not confusion. Your job is where you function, but your source is where you flow. You can leave a job and still prosper. You can lose a contract and still increase because you're not tied to the faucet. You're tied to the well. This is why you don't panic when doors close. Some doors close so better ones can open. Some channels dry up so you can discover new ones. That's not failure, that's direction. And when you're walking in purpose, the source always finds another way. So don't shrink your dreams to match your income. Don't limit your assignment to the walls of your workplace. You were sent to dominate, not just survive. The source doesn't run out. The source doesn't shut down. The source doesn't depend on the economy. And that's exactly why when you step into your assignment, you're not going alone. You're going with divine backing. Get ready, because next we're talking about divine backing for divine assignment. When you are truly walking in assignment, you don't walk alone. You are backed. Not by people, not by popularity, not by applause, but by power. There is divine backing behind every step you take in purpose. That's why some things worked for you that failed for others. That's why what looked impossible suddenly became achievable when you showed up. See, when a king sends a representative, they don't go in their own strength. They go with full authority, full access, full protection. And the same is true for you. You're not just moving with a good idea. You're moving with a commissioned assignment. That's why you don't have to force your way into rooms. You don't have to manipulate outcomes or beg for opportunity. When you are sent, you are supported. And everything you need, every door, every resource, every connection, it begins to respond to your arrival. But hear this, divine backing doesn't follow confusion. It follows clarity. Clarity of purpose, clarity of identity, clarity of direction. Once you align with who you really are and what you were really sent to do, backing shows up. Favor follows function. You've got more behind you than you realize. You are not under pressure. You are under power. And when pressure meets power, pressure breaks. So don't just step forward, step boldly. Because when you show up with backing, lack has to move out the way. And now the question becomes, if all of this is true, why are you still waiting when you should be walking into it? Next, you're not waiting, you're walking into it. You're not waiting, you're walking into it. The door isn't about to open, it's already unlocked. The opportunity isn't coming, it's already calling. But here's the thing, it won't drag you in. It requires motion. Purpose doesn't meet you at a standstill, it meets you in movement. Some of you have been sitting, praying, planning, waiting for the right moment. But the right moment is never something you wait for. It's something you create by stepping out. You don't need another confirmation, another meeting, another sign. What you need is to move. Everything you've heard up to this point has been building your confidence. You are chosen. You are funded. You are backed. You are not missing anything. You're simply being challenged to believe it. And belief without action, that's potential without power. You keep saying, I'm waiting on the right season. But truth be told, the season is waiting on you, waiting for you to show up, waiting for you to speak, waiting for you to build, to launch, to apply, to go. The path has already been carved. It just needs your footsteps. You've been prepared for this. You've been equipped for this. Everything you've walked through, it was part of your training. And now it's time to step into the fullness of who you are. So stop waiting. You've already been cleared. You've already been backed. You've already been funded. Now walk. Because when you walk, the world watches. And purpose starts speaking louder than fear.